Welcome to the Death Battle Cast. I'm Ben, voice of Wiz, joined by Chad, voice of Boomstick.
That's me.
As usual. What's up, Chad?
Hello.
We got Liam, man of 1,000 scary faces. And are you dead over there, Liam?
I'm trying to I was trying to keep so still so it looked like
I was
like, are you? I was trying to make it. Oh yeah, okay, good. I was trying to make it look like I kept like micro twitching, and my eyes started to tear up.
And then we got Josh. We've got Josh, who is nowhere near as creepy as Liam.
Appreciate it. And the beard's coming back, so
it is. Yeah. It's coming back.
Less creepy by the
which
day.
Doesn't mean anything because without the beard is just as good as the beard, which is a position that I've always held.
All right, today we have a couple things we want to cover. We are back in full swing of Death Battle. If you guys have not seen Bond versus Wick, episode directed by Josh here, you should definitely go check it out. The kickoff to the second half of this season was fucking badass. Like I think it was really cool. And I'm so excited that we're able to use characters like James Bond and John Wick in Death Battle. It's
long awaited.
Different.
Yeah.
It's such a different kind of episode. But we have a new episode coming out, sort of a classic Death Battle of superheroes, or in this case, super villains? Question mark. One of them is about to be in a superhero.
The Death Battle. I thought we were talking about
Aragorn
versus Jon Snow.
Oh no! I'm talking about the Death Battle that's coming out in like a week.
Yes.
And we are going to be showing a little teaser of what's to come for that episode later on in this cast.
So we got lots of stuff to show.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we got plenty of stuff to show. But we also have potentially. So okay. Typically on a Death Battle cast, we do some big argument about two characters fighting to the death, real intellectual stuff, and decide who wins. Today is going to be a little more freeform because it's very possible that as soon as we introduce this battle, it's going to be done in like 5 minutes. So if it is, we have a backup. We have like a second battle. Well, not really a backup battle. It's more like the one that I think we all want to do. We might have some other things that we want to talk about. But the battle we're starting with is one that we've actually seen requested a lot.
Yeah.
Aragorn of Lord of the Rings versus Jon Snow of Game of Thrones.
Song of Ice and Fire.
Song of Ice and Fire.
Wow. All right.
We're only doing...
Thanks, Chad. I was getting to
it. During the meeting. We talked about it during the meeting. We're only doing just one Jon Snow feats. So
I was leaning forward. I was like, say Ice and Fire first, Ben. You better say. And then you said Game of Thrones. I was like, no. Anyway, sorry.
Nobody knows what a Song of Ice and Fire is, Chad. Actually, they say it in the first episode of House of the Dragon, which is interesting.
I know.
Oh yeah, I did notice that.
Really hard.
That was fun.
But I guess that's a thing in the books. So I was like, why isn't anybody fucking memeing the fact that they title dropped in the first episode? That's the dumbest. Right? And apparently it's like in the books to some degree. And I'm like, well, that's disappointing.
That's disappointing. William is very hard to please.
Hey, before we get started, William in the chat mentioned this, and I did want to bring it up. Did you see the news from Rare today?
No.
Yes. Yeah, the Death Battle strikes again.
N64 is getting a legit Xbox 4K remake. Like, they figured out all the licensing shit, finally. It's not like a weird change or whatever. It is straight up the 64 GoldenEye. The Death Battle curse strikes again. We did James Bond, and GoldenEye gets announced.
It's not the one that they re-released like on the Wii or whatever.
No, not that crappy weird Wii one. No, this is legit the 64 one in all its glory.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing.
Not aged at all. Amazing. Glory.
Wait, they're gonna. Okay, I have to look into this later because that sounds like it could be.
So at
very
this point,
strange.
Let's be clear.
I'm having a hard time picturing it.
The reason that they have not yet made Half-Life 3 is because we still refuse to do Gordon Freeman versus Isaac Clarke.
Man, evidence is stacking up.
What happens?
Really
what happens in the Death Battle curse? See, I'm afraid that Half-Life 3, that Gordon Freeman might be like too much. Like we're not powerful enough. That if we do, no, specifically that if we do Gordon Freeman in a Death Battle and Half-Life 3 doesn't happen, that will end the death battle curse, and we will lose our power.
Or what
Like
we'll
that's
get-
what I'm afraid of.
You know what we'll get? We'll get like Dead Space 4 or something.
Yeah, like something.
You know, work
It's
our
gonna
way
go off the
towards
rails.
it.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, if we put Gordon Freeman in a death battle, Half-Life 3 is not going to be announced.
Yeah.
And then the death battle curse
But-
from then on is not going to be the same. And it's
But
like
Dead Space-
something is going to go wrong.
Here's the thing:
I
the
mean-
Dead Space remake is already. I think there is one, right? Isn't there? So that's taken up. If that's true, then that's taken up the Dead Space half of that slot. So you can't so the curse on that sense has already been struck.
Yeah.
So-
Also,
Yeah.
GoldenEye
So
is in licensing hell forever. Like they've tried to do this so much so that they made the weird other GoldenEye titles, right? I think there's been 2 of them, and like I don't know what sorcery they did, but they figured it out. It's like if that can get released, man, anything can. I want a documentary, legitimately, on like how that licensing thing went down and like how they tried to get it back and who wouldn't play ball. I'm very interested in it personally.
It seems James Bond just has to be embroiled in legal disputes all the time,
yeah,
Mhm.
especially the past
Even
couple
likes James
decades.
It's a bummer.
Oh, Joe Ferry in the chat says, "What's the death battle curse?" So the death battle curse is we will like do a death battle, do like a ton of research, and then either put out an episode or we'll be working on an episode, and then like new media for that character.
Specifically, like
gets
right when
announced.
we announce it or right before we announce it,
yeah.
Mhm.
new media will be announced.
Battle of
That-
Gods was announced like in the waiting period. for
Dude.
Goku versus Superman.
That's
like
maybe
worst
the
one.
most infamous one is
And then it happened
Dragon
again!
Ball hadn't had like a major
Yeah, it happened
film in
again.
years. They had that one with Vegeta's brother.
Yeah,
I can't remember what that one was
Tarble.
called. They had that one for a little bit, and then we were like, we're gonna do Goku vs Superman, and then
and
like,
end it once and for all.
a month before or something like that, something like a month before we released Goku vs Superman, Battle of Gods was announced.
So
And
then
we're like, fuck.
now we have to do
so-
another episode. So we did Goku
Thankfully-
versus Superman 2, and then they announced Super, and we were like, fuck this.
Thankfully, it didn't change
The-
anything at the time. Until the Super Anime came out.
I mean, it's all good fun, but it is ironic how a lot of things will. X-Men, we brought, was it Storm into Death Battle or something like that? We brought an X-Men into Death Battle, and that's when X-Men 97 was announced.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. It's at this point, it's too coincident. It is
Thank God,
too
'cause Storm
coincidental
would-
to like ignore.
I would love, Sony, if we could get like the Death Battle wiki updated with the curse and like
Yeah.
I would honestly love to see, because there's a bunch of them. Like
There might
there's
be.
a
I don't know.
lot of
I don't
stuff.
remember all of them, and
I don't
Mike-
either. That's why I was like, I'm sure somebody in the
I don't know if
community
anybody
might.
does. And I wouldn't want to like. I don't know. It also feels a little arrogant to be like, let's make a whole page about how we predicted and caused.
Oh, it's
things
all
to
tongue in
happen.
cheek. We don't think we're not actually doing it. It's just funny, and it's an interesting
Yeah.
coincidence that we loved. I just would personally be very curious to see how many line up.
But obviously, us doing this Death Battle cast is the reason why there's currently a Lord of the Rings show and a Game of Thrones.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
planned this 3 years
show.
ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Aragorn versus Jon Snow. So the way this is going to work is Chad's going to be repping Jon Snow. Liam, you're repping Aragorn, I believe, right? These guys are going to argue about it, piss all over the matchup, and then we vote on who's going to win. People
Piss
who will
all
vote
over
are the
it.
jury, which is me, Josh, and you guys in the chat. If you got anything you want to say about the matchup, let us know. But we can begin.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Okay, no, or Chad goes first. I don't give a fuck.
Sure.
Like, whatever.
No, it's fine.
If-
He's
if
just
I
worried you're
think-
gonna like
if
drop
anything,
some
it's-
crazy shit right out
I
the gate.
think
No.
I
Go,
think-
you go first, Chad. No, please, by all means.
I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10.
7.
Liam.
7 is the obvious. Everyone picks 7. 1.
Wow, it was 5. So Chad goes.
Chad
Okay.
goes first. Perfect.
I thought 5 was the obvious one, but okay.
No, everyone picks 7. 7 is the.
Why?
Is the... Because it's not. It's like it's right in
Would
the
you pick
middle.
5? Then you're guaranteed a 50% chance.
But you're also like. I mean, yeah, but most people pick 7. It's a studied
Okay.
thing. I don't know. It's just a
Chad,
number
why
that
does
people-
Jon Snow
Sure.
win?
Let's go. Jon Snow, the White Wolf, the bastard of Winterfell. turned ranger for the Night's Watch, the 998th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, a man who was resurrected from the dead and then went on to be crowned King of the North. I'm definitely going to be combining stuff from the books and the show here to get anything that I can. Jon is an expert swordsman and is an incredibly honorable person. That won't really come into play in a death battle, but it should be noted he always tries to do what's right. His companion, who is a part of him, is a gigantic dire wolf named Ghost, which will come in handy in this fight. And the guy has a lot of experience, not only fighting in single combat, but in multiple opponent combat, fighting in wars, fighting against not only regular people, but also savages and even the legions of the undead. Damn.
Okay. I do want to... Interesting that you bring up Ghost, because there is something I do want to talk about. But we'll come back to that.
The actual ghosts.
After Aragorn.
No.
I wasn't including
All
that,
right.
but-
That's
That's
What's
some
he bringing to the
bullshit.
table?
If you bring
that would be
the
bullshit.
Ghost Army?
That would be
Yeah,
very
it-
funny, though. That'd be funny in like an actual death battle episode to be like, "This is Ghost," and he's like, "These are ghosts."
These are ghosts. They all just... Did I say King of the North? It's King in the North. I know that. It's even written correctly here. I don't know.
Wah, wah.
I was vamping.
That's a fair mistake to make. So let's go with Aragorn. So Aragorn is at the time of his death, a 210-year-old king of men. He is descended from the men of Numenor, they have elven blood in them, so they're immortal and superhumanly strong and superhumanly fast and superhumanly tough. He wields Andril. Is that how you say it? I'm not sure. I'm sure.
Andriel, I think.
For name
Andriel?
of the West.
Andril, yeah, whatever. It's
They say Anduril in the movie.
Anduril. Okay, yeah, an incredibly powerful sword that can fight gods. He is one of the most skilled people in all of Middle Earth, according to Gandalf. He has fought in the largest battles seen in Middle Earth, at least in the Third Age, where Jon Snow fights hordes of dumb zombie undead. Aragorn fights superhumanly strong and very intelligent, or at least humanly intelligent orcs and Uruk-hai, super orcs.
I will say the whites do have super strength.
They do have super strength.
Yeah.
They do have super strength, but they're just like dumb zombies. And I would say that like an Uruk-hai is much smarter, even though I don't think any orcs are like, these super geniuses, but they're not like I think they would say that they're a more challenging combatant than a white. What makes a white challenging is killing them.
Yeah, luckily, that's what you need. You got some dragon fire, some Valyrian steel, and
exactly.
they're not a big deal.
And he has a Valyrian steel sword, so he's basically just hacking at zombies at that point.
Which is
Does
true.
Uruk-hai
But I mean, he
have
does fight White Walkers, which are
training?
much more skilled.
He does. He absolutely does. Fight.
When did the Uruk-hai get training? They were birthed by evil, and then they just ran around and killed people.
We don't really
I'm
see
trying-
a lot of the mechanics of like orc training, but they are armies.
I
And
just
we know from
always-
one
Well,
of
the orcs
powers-
are trained, but I'm thinking about the Uruk-hai.
I just always
Oh.
assumed that there was a period of time from when they were like birthed from evil
That's true.
that they were trained and then they were sent out.
The movies also
yeah.
shrink the
they super
timeline.
condense it. So it's
When
like,
I read the first part of Fellowship, I was like, wait, 17 years pass when Frodo has the ring in the Shire?
Oh yeah, Gandalf spent 17 years in Gondor
Like,
and
in a
whatnot
fucking
to try to
library.
figure out what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
I was
Sauron
like,
had a
I'm
lot
not
of
surprised
time
they
to like
cut that
fuck
out.
up his whole palace grounds. Like,
That's
you know,
true. I
like,
guess he
and
would be
raid
doing that
everybody.
pretty much the whole time, ever since Sauron like comes back into power. Okay, sure. So presumably,
So we've
several
already
years
answered a
of
question.
training.
Sure, the Uruk-hai got training then.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're trained. Meat is in fact back on the menu.
Okay.
I still can't believe that.
I think it makes sense.
So funny. It's
I
so
think it
great.
makes sense to bring Ghost into the fight. Ghost
I
is
do too.
basically his lifelong
1,000%.
companion.
Yeah.
Like Ghost is a part of Jon's arsenal. Like they are bonded. Ghost is always there in battle with him,
Mhm.
and they have that warg bond. So like, yeah, dude, there's no way you can have a fight with Jon without including Ghost.
I would
It's
say
not
in
like
that
an outside
sense,
help thing.
and I agree with you. I would say in that sense, it's also probably fair to like give Aragorn like his horse don't know if his horse has like a name or special. I don't remember.
Brago
But I would,
or something like that. Brago.
yeah, some
Brago?
fucking horso,
Like that.
horsey,
Horso.
Horso the
King
mighty.
Horse.
In which in
The
that
horse
case, it
lord.
actually would probably, I would say honestly, probably more of an advantage to Aragorn in that sense, since he has like a ranged option in terms of like he has a bow, he has a long bow, which he's incredibly skilled at. Remember, he was a ranger for like decades and decades and decades, and decades and decades and decades. Another big point I'd say in favor of Aragorn is that he's like a fuck ton more experience than Jon does.
I mean, I guess because of his like really long life. I think Jon's probably been in more fights, maybe.
No, I don't know, and I don't think anything like quite compares to like his like Aragorn's accomplishments in Helm's Deep and Pelennor Fields and that last battle that I forget. I wrote it down.
I mean, the Battle of the Bastards. He's fought in armies. He like, dude, he like went berserk in the Battle of the Bastards. That was wild.
Yeah.
But
but
Aragorn's time as a ranger is spent like
hunting
orcs, right? Like fighting off the remnants of the former Sauron's army.
Yeah, but I kind of pictured that as like
fight
sneaking
against.
up on him and stabbing him with a knife or like shooting him with a bow and arrow. You know, it's funny. It's funny you did
Not
bring up the
full-on
bow and
battles,
arrow
sure.
thing because thanks to the show, Jon Snow has arrow timing.
Yes, yeah.
Because when he, like after they have the Battle of the Bastards, he then agrees to duel Ramsay Bolton, and Ramsay gets to use a bow, and Jon, just to be like a complete badass, he has a shield. And what's really funny, instead of just like rushing up at him with the shield up, right? Like Jon literally has a shield like here and lets Ramsay fire a bolt, and then he reacts to it, and then it goes all the way up to when he's like super close and still like manages to whip it up in time. So I was like, that was one thing that surprised me when I was going across this. I was like, that's kind of stupid.
Totally. And for what it's worth,
either
Aragorn
stupid
also
or
has-
he's more than capable of doing that, and he really wants to fuck up Ramsay because Ramsay just killed
he just
Rickon
killed his
in
brother.
front of him.
Yeah. And so this is also after like the thing about Jon. It's
And
crazy. Is, like,
he knew that Ramsay, assaulted Sansa, right?
at that
Right?
point.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Don't
Sansa
remember.
already
Yeah.
escaped. Yeah. Sansa
Yeah.
already
At that
escaped.
point,
then-
Jon has like multiple reasons to want to fuck up Ramsay as much as possible.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I could totally see him being like, I know I can do this.
So
I'm gonna just like fuck
humiliate
with
him.
his head.
Yeah.
Like, so to me, that doesn't sound like stupidity. It sounds like he's just so confident in his abilities that he's just gonna.
Yeah.
He's
And that's
going to
what's
make
crazy
this as
too. It sounds
embarrassing
like-
as
What
possible.
is
for
stupidity
Ramsay.
though was the entire first part of the Battle of the Bastards.
Well,
which is a battle he should have definitely lost without help from the Veil.
Well, and that's the thing is
Littlefinger.
he actually is like very smart and he is a quick thinker, and like he did put together a plan of how they would potentially win. But the problem was then he saw his brother get shot with an arrow in front of him, and then he lost his shit. So that wasn't very smart
emotional.
of Jon Snow there, because that definitely would have cost them all the battle, unless if the other armies didn't show up to help out.
I mean, but to be fair, Jon has always been emotional, even early on in the show.
Yeah.
in the books. He's an emotional.
Isn't emotional though beyond that, in any way that compromises his ability to slaughter dozens of orcs effortlessly is Aragorn. Not effortlessly, but I think with his experience and his just kind of genuine general superhuman perfect boy overall glow. I think he'd probably have. I don't think it would be a big deal that particularly. But
Yeah.
definitely
Jane Gwyn in the chat says
advantaged in that
Jon
sense.
is also a very good archer.
So
He just never uses a bow.
Well, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So Jon was actually trained. It's in the books that says literally from the time he could walk, with Winterfell's master at arms. Oh God, what's his name? Roderick Castle. So like literally since apparently, which I am a father. I know how young a kid can walk. I would not put even a practice sword in their hand, but whatever. But yeah, so they've been trained in like all manners of like fighting, and it's literally since they could walk. All the Stark children, all the Stark males, and then also like Arya snuck in there a bit.
How old is Jon again?
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't write that down. But yes, yes, clearly, yes, Aragorn, who
Greater
can
or
live to
less
be
than?
over 200 years old. But still, I will say there is a quote that everybody just started like hearing about Jon and like all of his fights and stuff he'd been in, and he is rumored to be, quote, the greatest swordsman who ever walked.
That's not true at all, and that is completely false and obviously untrue by any Barristan Selmy, Arthur Dane, Jaime Lannister. Fucking Robert Baratheon was probably better with a sword, and he had a goddamn
Not a sword.
hammer.
Robert had a hammer.
At the very least, it's established that Jaime Lannister was a better swordsman than him. I'm pretty sure that's mentioned multiple times in the show, at least.
Yeah, but then Jaime
talk about that.
Well, but then Jon got
then he
better.
loses his hand, and then it's like it's
And
up
then-
in the air who's the best swordsman at the time. But like,
Yeah, but
he-
Jon also doesnn't have any like great wins against like amazing swordsmen, right? Like,
No, he's
like,
fighting the undead. He's got more important shit to worry about than going to the local tourney.
Like, Jon can't
Detrimental
judge
to his
somebody by
character.
the
Jon
lack
ever-
of information that they have,
so
right?
Jon killed a lot of whites. Did he ever 1v1 a White Walker?
Yes, multiple times.
Oh, I guess in that village,
Hardhome.
fishing village or whatever, when he lifts them all up. Before they
Yeah,
can
so he
fight
had one where
somebody.
he's getting like the shit beat out of him, but then he like that's the thing is like Jon adapts like really quickly, like on the fly, like he'll use his scenario, like anything in the moment to like help give him an advantage. Like when he was fighting whatever his name is, the one of the wild like Steer, the Magmar then, like he's like getting pretty beat up, and then he spits blood into his eyes, then grabs a hammer and pushes like nails it through his head, right? So like he's a pretty quick thinker, and like he's fighting this White Walker, and then manages to like. Also, Jon like has like a berserker mode. He just gets pissed off enough, and he somehow gets better at stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's
It's
usually
also-
what happens.
It's worth mentioning also that he like against White Walkers, he usually like physically gets dominated by them, and then is able to get a hit in with their Valyrian sword. with
Yeah,
his
like he
Valyrian
gets the
sword,
killing blow,
which insta
right? Like,
kills. Yeah.
he can keep himself in it.
Oh,
long enough.
right. He just needs to get one hit.
Yeah.
Whereas,
Well, I mean, it's
Aragorn-
like if-
Aragorn wears decent armor, right? Like, where's
Uh,
chain?
Aragorn has, I would say, better armor than Jon Snow. Jon Snow
I'm
has
just wondering
like,
if he
has,
could
like
take a hit from a sword, basically.
Aragorn.
If he's wearing chain, he could. You're
All right, here's-
Unless he's
here's-
got-
Yeah, I mean, he
where it
has
gets-
he has plate armor in Return of the King.
This is
Oh,
this
that's
is
true. He wears
where
plate at the end.
this is
There's
where it gets
probably
really
native-
weird. This is like you're putting one fantasy like genre's like sharpest, can't get dull, most amazing, can cut through anything steel versus another fantasy series like
Is Valyrian
elven
steel
armor that's
cut through
resistant to, you
anything?
know what I mean? Like
No,
Is Valyrian steel like a cut through anything? I thought it was just like blessed or something like that.
it's really strong. It's really strong and really lightweight.
right.
Uh,
It's
Yeah,
not
but
like
it's
it's not like a
sword.
laser
It's not-
sword,
it's
right?
not a
But like
lightsaber.
But it's not like it can cut through anything, like
No.
like adamantium blade cuts through anything kind of thing. It's not like that.
No.
I mean, it can cut through lesser metals. It's not going
Yes.
to cut through Aragorn's sword specifically because of his sheath, because his sheath blesses the sword to never be broken again. Because yay, elf magic.
Thanks. I actually
Why
didn't
didn't
know
they do
but
that in the
thank you
first
for
place?
adding that.
Anyway,
I'm pretty sure Narsil had some sort of magic on it that allowed it to hurt Sauron. I think
It cuts
I could
through
be
Sauron.
mistaken there.
I don't know
Yeah.
if there's
Yeah.
magic specifically that's it's like a. I don't think there's.
It might
anything
just
that
be
states
because
that
it
it's
is Elven or Numenorian in nature, or whatever.
It's
Speaking
a
of which,
dwarven. But yeah, same deal.
Numenor. Aragorn has Numenorian blood, right?
Yes.
Are Numenorians like superhumanly strong, or they're like stronger than a normal human, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, Aragorn. Obviously, the long-lived thing is the biggest. But
yeah, we have never seen
right.
him do anything like superhuman, though.
Oh, we sure have. We sure have.
Ooh.
Okay.
We absolutely
Like
have
what?
seen him do it.
Sorry, I'm
Uh,
thinking from the books.
trade-
There's nothing.
trade-
I don't think there's anything in the books, but there
Correct.
probably is something
Trade blows with
from the Return of the
with
King
an
battle.
attack troll. You know the cave troll from Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Now train it for battle and give it armor and a giant sword. And
Hmm.
Aragorn fought one of those 1v1 in Return of the King in the Battle of Pelennor Fields.
Oh right.
Like he's like
Yeah,
he's like
I
bang,
think-
bang bang.
Did he
Which
like
is supposed
stop
to be
his
Sauron.
blows?
Yeah.
Jeez.
yeah,
even
he
in
does.
even in
There's-
Fellowship of
there's
the Ring,
one
he
where
uses
they
a pole
clash.
arm to stop the cave troll, and the cave troll was like smashing through fucking big stone pillars and shit.
Mm.
Aragorn can
Okay.
They fight
also
the cave
dodge.
troll in the books. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know if
like
I don't
that-
know
the
what
trolls
is
there.
stated specifically about. He can also in the movies he kills Uruk-hai by like punching them, but punching their helmets, and they just drop dead. He's like his fist is enough.
I always assumed they just got knocked
to
unconscious.
kill- Okay, knocked unconscious. The
Still
difference
pretty
is not
solid.
I
super
mean,
different,
knocking a monster zombie man unconscious by hitting them in the helmet with your fist and doing it multiple times.
I mean, pretty hardcore. Yeah.
Does sound pretty
He also-
superhuman to
Dude,
me.
I will say there's
Yeah.
this shot. There's a shot in the Battle of the Bastards when John's like freaking out and he's like killing a bunch of people, and then this horseman comes like riding at him, and John just like hits this dude in the chest with his with Longclaw, and
Yeah.
this dude not only gets dismounted but flies like 6 feet backwards.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's a little superhuman.
I want to mention a feat that is like it was funny at the moment, but has to be superhuman. He fucking picks Gimli up and chucks him like 15 to 20 feet. Gimli
Oh
is,
yeah,
is short.
the so
Like,
clearly
Gimli's
guided by
full
ropes.
armor.
Yeah, when he's like,
He's full armor, and dwarves are like pure muscle. Like they're small, but they're like little balls. They're like little black holes. They're singularities of muscle. He picks it up and just chucks him.
Dwarves are little black holes.
They're little like they're little like
They're very dense. They're very dense.
I couldn't fucking pick up a dwarf, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'd
God.
actually be very interested to calc like John
Yeah.
knocking this dude off of his horse in full armor, because it's like it'd be one thing if the guy did like he rolled backwards over the horse, right? Then it'd be like,
Right.
you know, the
Yeah,
momentum
yeah,
of the
yeah.
horse.
Realistic,
But this
yeah.
dude
Yes,
like
he should just fall
goes
off.
flying like backwards. And I remember I watched that a couple times. I'd present it, but it's in GIF form, and we don't want to get flagged. But
I also
yeah.
want to mention stamina, because this is a thing.
John has it too, but I know.
Okay, days of
Aragorn's
running.
crazy.
Let's go.
Days of
Yeah,
running,
yeah, yeah.
4 days, 45 leagues. That's 135 miles.
Yeah.
No sleep or rest or food. They just
Jeez.
fucking beast moded it. That's pretty crazy. And they were like chasing. And in the movies, it's clear that they're like just fucking sprinting.
I know. That's all you need. You just need that epic music, and you can run
Yeah.
forever.
That's pretty fucking insane.
Jeez.
Like in an
Yeah.
Chad, you
extended
said you got
sword
something
duel.
for John?
Yeah, I mean, John just keeps going.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
He's got better than Mithril. He's got plot armor.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's been hit in the head with a chunk of ice, kept like recovered and kept climbing. He's been stabbed. He's been shot. Well, aside from the time when the backstabbing, that's a different thing. But
Well, he had to be stabbed like 40 times to die.
Oh, yeah,
He
a
got,
whole
he got
lot.
Caesared.
And I mean, it's pretty consistent, to be honest, because just like anytime he's fighting somebody, like he'll get the shit beaten out of him, or there's many times he'll get the shit beaten out of him, and then he just keeps going. He's fighting a White Walker who literally broke his ribs, and then he still like deflected the guy's attack, got up and killed him. So like,
Is it a feat that he was able to stay conscious throughout the entire stabbing process of when he was betrayed?
To be fair, I believe Julius Caesar was like conscious. Like it depends on where you're stabbed, right?
it's very true.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
it's very similar to the
To be
Caesar.
fair.
moment,
All right.
You know.
Real quick, I feel like we've got quite a bit of information. We can maybe even bring up the poll at
He
this
dueled 5
Um,
Nazgul at the same time and drove them
But
off.
I would like to know
So was the last one.
if John is able to bring Ghost into this.
This is
Does
the
that
crux of my
also
argument.
mean that he's able to bring Rhaegal?
I have this. Damn it! I can't. That was my final thing. I was gonna just make Liam laugh. 'cause
talk
he's
about
gonna,
it.
He's gonna tell me no, because technically, yes, John did bring Rhaegal into battle. Because
He bonded
is,
with Rhaegal.
Spoiler,
He can
surprise!
command Rhaegal.
John's a secret Targaryen. Yeah, like Rhaegal allowed him to be ridden because Danny said it was cool. That's also important. But like, he did
Well, and-
ride
and-
Rhaegal into battle.
Okay, then John gets to
Targaryens
bring
have
in
to
the
bond
Ghost
with the
Army.
dragon, right? Like that's a
Yeah.
thing, and he was able to.
They're
connect
owed a
with
debt.
Rhaegal.
Yeah,
Here's the thing. So
they have to do
So-
what he says. Yeah,
I think
the ghosts-
Longclaw is capable of killing Aragorn, right? Because Aragorn's not immortal, like, you know, just like all the elves and stuff. Like, they have minor like healing factors and stuff, but they can die. They can be stabbed and killed. Plus, it's a bastard sword, so it's longer than your average longsword. I tried to get a length on
And slower.
Aragorn's sword, but it's like not anywhere. But so there's a
It's a
little bit of a
bastard
reach
sword.
advantage, or I'll say on the sword. I know
found it.
Aragorn's pretty tall.
Well,
But-
no, this is
you'll be able to
Aragorn-
find the prop. You can find like
Aragorn's
the
armor
prop
is
link.
much better. Like cycling back to your thing about him unhorsing the guy, if Longclaw wasn't able to cut through that dude's armor, then and that dude was wearing like leather or shit, how the fuck is it going to get through Aragorn's plate? It's never specifically stated, but there's, considering it's like the regal armor of Gondor.
You would assume it was blessed by elves or some shit.
Well, it probably has mithril, because even the city guards have mithril helmets in Gondor.
Yeah.
So it's
I just assume he hit him with the flat.
Maybe.
But no, here's the thing. So like, the Ghost thing is really interesting because Ghost is definitely going to be a part of the fight, and we've seen like Ghost is ludicrously intelligent. Like even like, and their war bond develops a lot more as like that goes on. But like even early on, Ghost like will like advance the plot sometimes. So be like, hey, I found this dead guy, or like, hey, I need to take you to where I know the Valyrian steel is buried. And you're like, how the fuck is
higher
this guy?
dimensional intelligence?
Yeah, it's just like, why does this?
I want to bring up
wait. So we have John's armor is plot armor, and Ghost's mine is the author.
Yeah.
So like, Ghost has
like,
a connection to the author.
And like when John was fighting Corin Halfhand, who Corin wanted to die, but John was really not about it. But Ghost zoomed in at the time to bite his thigh, which then gave John the opening for the killing blow. But like, so Ghost knows how to be strategic in a fight. So that's my thing. Because like, I think like Aragorn would have like a little bit of an advantage in a 1v1 fight. But with Ghost, I think Ghost kind of like tips the scales John's way.
Okay, my response to that is, if we give Aragorn his horse, then he can just outrange. He's like faster immediately than John or
John
Ghost.
also has a horse.
Okay, then we can give, then he shoots him with a fucking arrow from like,
all right. I think we've got to cover everything.
I have one more thing to say.
Okay, what is it?
In the beginning of Two Towers, there was a warg. Funny use of word there.
I know he killed the
attacking Gimli. He picks up a pole arm, kills it in one shot. And
which is
wargs,
true.
I think are generally bigger than direwolves.
I will even give you in the books. There's a pack of wargs, and Aragorn singles out the warg king and kills it.
Yeah.
Which very funny by the way, because when I was refreshing on this, it said warg, and then the guy put in parentheses next to it super wolves.
Yeah.
Which cracked me up.
Basically, yeah. I mean, the wargs in Lord of the Rings are basically like dire hyenas in a way.
Yeah,
sort of.
Oh my god, especially
kind of equivalent.
Holy shit! Especially the warg in Rings of Power. Have you guys seen it? It's straight up Ed from The Lion King. It comes out, and I couldn't stop laughing.
All right, the poll is up. I think now is a.
If it was Aragorn versus Ghost, absolutely Aragorn would be able to kill Ghost, but not. I think it's not going to be easy for him to take on Jon and Ghost at the same time.
Sure.
Yeah, you're saying that Jon is a good enough fighter that if we bring in a second, very intelligent and also unique sort of fighter into the match with Ghost, it's gonna give Aragorn a little bit of trouble and maybe tip the scale.
Yeah, and Ghost is huge. Like he started out as the litter, and like is now the biggest direwolf. I
saw a tweet about like somebody petting a wolf, and it was like I thought wolves were just like the size of dogs. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, normal wolves are fucking large already.
Are people size.
Dire wolf is massive.
Massive.
Like it's basically like you could ride it.
So
like
he's a super wolf is basically what I'm talking
like the orcs.
And Namiri is not dead, and that's one of my favorite things in the books is how they keep bringing up that this fucking dire wolf is raising her own wolf army, and it's one of my favorite things. You get these little updates, and it's just like, it's weird. The wolves are coming down from the mountains and are raiding villages in coordination we've never seen before. And I'm like, you get it, Nymeria. Like, you know that's coming for like the big battle in the end. Nymeria is going to show up with her army of wolves, and I'm all about it. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. So go ahead and get your votes in right now. Let's talk about what is going on. With the upcoming death battle. But before we get to that, I do want to talk about a sponsor for this week's episode, which is, interestingly enough, Black Adam. The movie. Hey! We did not plan on this. This just kind of happened. But yeah, the upcoming Black Adam movie is coming out very soon. And we actually have a teaser for the movie to share with you guys. this is kind of cool. Let's go and check that out.
My son sacrificed his life to save me. These powers are not a gift, but a curse. Born out of rage.
This loose cannon needs to be locked down.
Good luck.
We're here to negotiate your peaceful surrender.
I'm not peaceful. Nor do I surrender. Here we go.
There's a war going on outside when you ain't safe from.
Black Adam.
You have two choices.
You can be the destroyer of this world. Or you can be its savior.
Black Adam. See the full trailer now. Only in theaters October 21st.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Also, I think I'm equally as excited for seeing Dr. Fate in like a theatrical film as well.
Yeah, it's so
Here's
definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I
know, right?
He looks so cool.
Juice you in the chat. Whoa, Death Battle really upped their budget for this one.
Well,
Dr. Fate is
all right.
a personal favorite of mine, so I'm very excited to-
yeah. It's cool that
So
he's
cool.
in it. Hawkman's in it, like, and of course Black Adam is. The Rock's gonna be perfect. Dwayne Johnson's gonna be perfect for the role. You can watch Black Adam in theaters and IMAX internationally on October 19th, and North America on October 21st. We're very excited for that, just as we are excited to share with you the teaser, another teaser. This time, the teaser for our upcoming Death Battle.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and play that too.
Yeah.
Where's your general, interloper? Humans interlope on mutant sanctuary.
First on September 18th, YouTube September 19th. Holy shit!
It has to be
that track
that has
is
to be-
so good.
It has to be
Yeah,
the
man.
best looking background that we've ever
Oh my
like,
God,
made.
it's incredible.
Like, it's
Background's just gonna be
fucking
better.
insane.
Josh,
Yeah, Luis and Billy.
as director of this episode, what do you want to say about this without spoiling too much?
Oh man, like truly, like I I don't want to overstate it, I guess, but more so than any of my episodes so far, I'm so excited and curious to see the reaction to this fight. Like I really, really, I'm gonna be combing through every comment and every thread. I'm so curious to see everybody's reaction to this because it's getting really fun reactions internally, and I want to see how that translates to our audience. Like I'm really excited for you guys to see this one.
Yeah, we got DJ wrote this one, and he came up with a very unique way of starting the fight, which we were very happy to be able to do. And also, we got Omega Sparks and SWAT back for the music, right?
Oh yeah,
We love working with them.
Yeah, that's so cool.
yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, so it's gonna be good. So again, that's coming out this next week. We are excited to share Black Adam versus Apocalypse with you all. Okay.
If you watch this with your children, please don't watch this one with your children.
That's a good point. Yeah.
The ending is very brutal, okay?
These are very violent people.
Absolutely true.
Like y'all know the show for a long time. You know, I have a history of I had some really effed up endings in the past, but like even when we were watching this, I was like, oh my god! Like, and then
We went all right.
I'm not gonna spoil
What
too much.
happens?
Okay, yeah. Be sure to check that out. Don't have your tiny 2-year-old watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
But all right, let's get back to the community death battle. All right, Josh, who are you voting for? Aragorn or Jon Snow?
That's tough, man. I mean, I think I was coming into it leaning more towards Aragorn.
Oh, do we have comments though? Community comments first?
Oh yeah.
Did we?
Sure, let's bring up the community comments.
Good covering. That's
I
very
forgot.
good.
Oh,
I
whatever.
did,
All right.
I
Go
did not
fire.
think I'd do anything wrong.
Blitz. Sorry, guys. People really saying Ghost could take Aragorn himself, but Ghost is a runt. No, not anymore. And Aragorn eats wargs for breakfast. But people talking about Aragorn's strength and weapon advantage forget that White Walkers are many times stronger than humans, even Thens. And Jon's anti-magic Valyrian steel sword would likely match Aragorn's. Okay.
Was that
Were the
arguing for
Thens?
John?
Are the
That was
Thens
arguing for John.
Okay, I couldn't quite.
Are the Thens the cannibals?
They're like
Who are the
they're like
Thens?
douchebag wildlings. They're the ones with the
Yeah.
the bald and like the scars and stuff.
Yeah,
and
they're like
eat-
the-
they eat
like-
people.
The like the berserker
the cannibals.
wildlings is the best
Yeah.
way I
They're
can
mean.
describe
Okay.
that.
They're poo.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was. Anyway, all right. Let's go ahead and bring up the argument for
right, Jake.
Aragorn.
Jack
Aragorn.
Carson says Longclaw and Duriel are probably equivalent in quality, so it comes down to the skill of the wielders. Aragorn has a few decades more experience than Jon, and he's one of the Dunedain, so he's likely has the advantage in strength and speed, and he looks pretty healthy for someone who's 87 and an age without penicillin. And Jon Snow knows nothing. Ouch. Twist that egret knife, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Liam didn't bring that one up. All right.
It's probably
Okay.
like it is a literal 2012 meme, so I did not bring it up.
We were
Very
just
ironic
talking
for
about
me
how
to say shit like that too. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'll add like big chungus into scripts.
all you care about is fucking
When you read the books,
memes.
it was very, it really got you in the heart.
Yeah,
All
just
right,
like
all right.
just like Ollie got egret right in the heart.
Do we have a community poll? Not the poll from the chat, but the community page. I don't know if we do. There it is. Okay,
Oh,
Aragorn
wow.
wins.
Cool.
Whoa,
Oh, you
wow.
guys gave him his
Surprise.
proper name. That's cool. All right.
Yeah. Nice.
Aragorn,
Listen
Elisar. Well, it became Elisar when he became king, right? That was the thing. Like,
Aegon.
Bro, did
the
y'all
sixth.
really put Aegon
Six of them.
Targaryen? You just gonna put that in the fucking like?
Spoilers.
That's like
We all
That's
know.
amazing.
It's
you
not
know,
even a
but that's like
spoiler
there are
anymore.
people who did not watch the show that are waiting for like, and I mean, yes, even there's enough
Yeah,
hints in the
real.
books, but still, like that's a huge ass spoiler.
True.
That's like
To
the
put in-
spoiler.
Womp womp. Well, whoops.
awesome.
Okay.
Woof, woof.
All right. So Aragorn's got one vote. Back to you, Josh. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say I was probably leaning more towards Aragorn in the beginning, but I want to bet on Valyrian Steel and Ghost. I'm gonna go Jon Snow.
Hell yeah, I convinced somebody. That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
Well, I think John is just gonna call his dragon in and burn.
Yeah,
Aragorn
nice,
to the grave.
nice.
Calls in the fucking ghost
I
army.
don't like. Why not? Why not the fucking dragon? Aragorn's
We
got.
only got to do that once.
to the mountain.
That's
to
not
call-
a
talk
forever
to the-
thing.
Yeah, technically he
Crab
can't do it
feeder.
again.
Crab
I mean, if
Feeder
we're
was
going with
able
that-
to hold off against.
Aragorn could probably just throw a knife and it just happens to kill Rhaegal because he just lets that happen. But
What is he gonna brand this shit? He's gonna like Black Arrow, who've never failed me in the past. Boom, perfectly. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, probably.
That's some Tolkien shit. Tolkien's not involved in this battle, sir.
okay, I'm gonna vote for Aragorn. I'm gonna
Come
vote
on!
for Aragorn. My boy
Alright.
Aragorn.
Go!
All right, so there's 2 Aragorns, 1 John.
I was about to
Let's
be a
see
ghost.
What the chat poll has to say. Go ahead and bring up the chat.
Ooh.
Well,
Aragorn wins 77%. That's 3 votes for Aragorn.
what was
for
the other
John.
percentage? Did I
It's
slay
like
some
80
people?
something,
It was-
right?
83, I
70-something
think.
is-
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
I pulled
it was
some
80,
people
so I
around.
don't know. Like 5% of people. Okay, Aragorn wins. Frankly, we kind of expected that to be the case.
It's funny how like decisive it is, even though it's really not like I wouldn't call it like a stomp per se. It's just like all the little advantages I think point to Aragorn.
Sure.
Right?
Well,
You know?
that conversation, there was a lot more to talk about than I thought there was. I thought we were going to
Yeah.
get this wrapped up in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I was
Because-
concerned when I because I wasn't even at the meeting when we were gonna do this, and I was like,
Yeah,
by
which
the
is
way,
why I got
you're
Aragorn.
repping Jon Snow against Aragorn. I was like, cool, 99% sure Jon loses. Was the message that I sent to Aaron. But then I was just like, but I mean, let me look into whatever I can. So I did my best, and like I think the ghost thing is the most interesting area to explore.
Incorporating
And, like,
ghost does throw a little bit of a wrench into the idea that it is
Aragorn
so
sweep.
one-sided.
Yeah.
Not a sweep. I
Not a
got
sweep.
Josh.
Josh.
Yeah, you got one vote. All right, so just for the last bit of this episode, I've got another thing I want to talk about. But before we do that, I do want to talk about our second sponsor for this week's episode, the Stinky Dragon. The Stinky Dragon is a hilarious audio D&D podcast starring Rooster Teeth's very own Barbara Dunkelman, Blaine Gibson, John Reisinger, Gus Cerullo as Dungeon Master, and Chris Damaris, who you might know as the voice of Dummy in Death Battle. Poor Dummy being stuck in a D&D campaign where people just can't do anything right. Sounds about right.
No, well, let's be fair. If there's anybody in that campaign that can't do anything right, it will be Chris Damaris. So.
So join them for an epic campaign following the interns of the brave and mighty Infinites. Little do they know that the Infinites are in danger, and our hopeless interns may be their only hope for salvation. Can the interns save the Infinites and figure out how to roll a strength check? It's like one of the easiest things to do, but I don't know. So listen to Tales from the Stinky Dragon wherever you get your podcasts to find out. Really funny podcast, guys. Definitely check it out. Okay, so speaking of Stinky Dragons, I don't know actually how that translates to what we're
It was close. But actually, real quick, because I've seen this, I keep seeing people ask this. Who are the VAs for Adam and Apocalypse? You want to tell us about
yeah. We got Wolf Williams is playing Apocalypse, and Cameron Nikad is playing Black Adam, who are both, I believe, Death Battle veterans. Have been in the show before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cameron's been in the show.
Yeah,
several times at this point. Neither of them are Stinky Dragons, Chad. I don't know why.
No, I just wanted to jump in before we moved on because I literally saw like probably like 6 people ask this question, so I was like, might as well get
there. You go.
I'm looking out for the chat, Ben.
Yes, they are. They are. Sound great. They sound really cool.
Yeah.
The episodes. I'm very excited for you guys to see this episode next week. Okay, so just to kind of wrap up today's show, I have a second matchup for everybody to think
What?
about. What? We can go ahead. We can just go ahead and break up the poll as soon as this is announced. Whatever. Let's talk about Bean Battle. Yeah. By Bean Battle, I mean, what if Boromir of Gondor fought Ned Stark of
You or your
Winterfell?
shirt.
This is a lot closer, I think.
That's right, I
Because
did. It was
Boromir
hidden in
doesn't
plain
have-
sight this whole time.
The hint was right there.
Because Ned still has a Valyrian steel sword. It's a great sword of ice.
Ned has a
That's
Valyrian
right.
steel sword. It is massive. It is
It's
2
huge.
swords,
Gigantic.
basically.
Yeah.
It's the size of 2 swords. Yeah,
It's literally
and
2 swords.
he's got a fuck ton of combat experience, right, Josh?
That's
right.
right.
I'm arguing for Boromir. Josh is arguing for
Red hard.
I should be no. He doesn't have that much combat experience.
Boromir is
got-
probably my
he's got
favorite
plenty.
character in the movies, at least. Him,
Really?
maybe
Why?
Galadriel. Maybe it's tough. I just
Bormir's
love
one of the
how
more interesting.
I love how
but
I love how
Liam-
kind Boromir is. Like he's like, give them a moment for pity's sake. It's so
Until
sweet.
he's not.
He plays with them. Yeah, but he's like imperfect, right? He's like
He
everything that
does
Aragorn
he
isn't.
does bond with the halflings faster than almost
Yeah,
anyone.
it's
He
so
did a real
sweet.
good job,
Pretty
and
much
honestly, that scene is like so critical because you see somebody who like really cares and wants to do the right thing, and then you see
Yeah.
how the ring influences him, and then the second that they're gone and the influence is off of him because it didn't work out, then you just literally you get that just moment of just ultimate
It's
regret.
it's so
Uh,
heartbreaking.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
feel
so
bad.
heartbreaking.
But to break everybody's heart, Josh, how do you think Ned Stark could kill everybody's favorite Boromir?
Man, I think ice plays a big part of it. You know, Valyrian steel, obviously. Kill White Walkers. We've talked about it. I mean, that's like a huge deal. And he's gone toe to toe with. We talked about Jaime as being like one of the, if not like considered the best swordsman at least of the time, and he's gone toe to toe with him, coming out clean. And also like the Tower of Joy and coming out against like Arthur Dane, who book versus show is a little different, but like either way, it came out on either side of that. Like he's consistently like well respected and is thought of as like maybe not the best fighter, but better
He's
than
up
your
there, for
average
sure.
like nobleman or knight. You know, like
Yeah.
he's a cut above them. So and yeah, lots of combat experience, 2 rebellions, and like leading armies each time. Like you know, he's got some. So we haven't seen him do a ton of crazy stuff, but I would say like the respect everybody has for him and the position that he's in when we see him in the first season or the first book is like I think points to the fact that he can hold his own for sure.
You see, and that's the series I wanted. Give me Robert and Ned.
Yeah,
like
that'd be awesome.
Like the buddy cop night show where they go and take over the whole like lead the whole rebellion. Like, dude, because like they talked about how Robert used to be like jacked and he was just nailing people with his mace, and then you got Eddard next to him with his huge like great sword. Like, yeah, man, that's what I wanted.
I mean, that's what they'll
that would be
do
great
next. That's what they'll do next. Like they want to do the dragon thing because they don't necessarily
maybe
have to
dunk
like,
an egg.
contend with
Yeah.
casting the same people, like a recast of Ned Stark. Oh no, but
And people like Dragon.
They'll do it later.
It's very much a
people like Dragon.
The gist
People
I'm
like
getting
Dragon.
from Hot D so far. Brief note.
All right,
oh yeah, you go on, Ben. You go on.
Boromir's gonna win because Sean Bean was younger when he played him, so he's out.
Boromir
that means Eddard's more experienced. We just went over this.
Is he stated to be the best warrior of Gondor before he dies? Obviously,
I don't know necessarily about the best warrior of Gondor, because there's definitely some nepotism involved in his position. However, he is a very skilled captain. There's not a whole lot of known history for Boromir, but he was involved in the very first battle of the War of the Ring, which is the first sacking of Osgiliath. And it is his quick thinking that allows basically half of Osgiliath to remain out of Sauron's control. Sauron is attempting to take over. Basically, Osgiliath is like a river city.
Yeah.
And Sauron has to take Osgiliath in order to get his troops into the Pelennor Fields, I think it's called, to siege Gondor.
To position them,
He also wants to take it in order to hide the Ringwraiths travel across the river to go seek out the hobbits. Because by this point, I think he had already captured Gollum. Or he was aware that he needed to send the Wraiths out anyway, at the very least. He was able to do that part because he was able to capture part of Osgiliath. But he was not able to capture, I think, the north end, the part that basically links up to Gondor. Which is that in the movies, if you watch the extended edition, there is a scene where there's like a big celebration. That's post that battle where everybody's like, yeah, thanks to Boromir, we're good. Everybody's good. And then later on in the movies, Osgiliath is taken because Faramir, unfortunately, isn't quite the captain that Boromir was. Also, Sauron was way more prepared at that point because he knew what we was.
Not again.
So he is a very skilled captain. He's very tactically minded. He's very well trained. He
fought a bunch of arcs at the end. I mean, he died.
I was about to say that
battle.
I was literally about to
he
say
fought
his redemption
Uruk-hai by himself.
Yeah.
Just like Aragorn did. Also, technically, this is why I asked earlier. Like Númenóreans have hardier superhuman abilities to some degree. Technically, he is of Númenórean descent as well. That's the reason why he's able, or Denethor is able to sit on the throne as steward. They are descendants from of
Númenóreans. They're the Dunedain.
Yeah, of the Dunedain of why am I blanking? The guy was just introduced in Rings of Power. Elendil? Is that his name?
Elendil, yeah.
Yeah. They are descendants of him just like Aragorn. Technically, they're like long separated cousins or something like that.
Yeah. But also,
he's Númenórean.
His death in the books, if I remembered right, he's like riddled with arrows. Like they come across him.
I'm pretty sure it's
like a
arrows.
pile of orcs and multiple arrows. Like more. No, the movie was 3, but I think I'm pretty
it's
sure
3 in the books, but they make a point.
Is it 3 in the books
out of how
one.
massive the arrows are.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are monster arrows. And the fact that he was able to power through them is impressive because they're basically designed to kill a person in one shot.
Well, so while we're on the topic of his death, this is something I did want to bring up that doesn't necessarily weigh into these two in a death battle. But if we're talking about a bean battle, a Sean Bean battle, I think we should talk about how, like, I think Ned's death is more meaningful than Boromir's death, both being like really impactful.
I thought you were about to be like, one died fighting. Technically, Ned never died in combat. He had to be executed.
He's also never won.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going.
That's right. Yeah. Come on, Josh. I'm backing you up.
See, I mean, he dies in front of his children, beheaded with his own sword. It like he's the head of the House Stark, and it sets the tone for the rest of the series. Like, I think in terms of a Sean Bean battle, he Sean Beans more as Ned.
Here's the only problem.
Disagree.
He compromised all of everything he stood for at the very end. That's the thing that's so heartbreaking. Is like, he is the guy that would never compromise, and finally he's like, "Fuck it, I'll compromise." And then they were like, "But anyway, we'll kill you."
Also,
like, setting the tone.
I think he Sean Beans more as in his death as Boromir. Because
I love this.
They said
harder.
It's not entirely his fault, to be fair.
No, it's
the Fellowship decides to send him down the river, and they don't think about where the river's going. It goes straight to fucking Gondor. So Faramir sees his brother drifting down the river and is like, uh-oh, and brings that information to Denethor, which then sets the stage for the near ruin of Gondor. Like, everything is just absolute shit when Gandalf and Pippin show up.
And
it's because
nuts.
Boromir's dead. If they hadn't sent him down the river, Denethor would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure my son's going to bring the ring here any minute now," and he'd be all
I
like
love
cheering.
that they make sure that Boromir is still relevant, like, even throughout
the
next two movies. It's great. He isn't just like token like character that has to die in the first movie so that it proves that there's a threat and our heroes aren't invincible. No, it actually means something.
If you go back. What?
Yeah. I was gonna say I like that you can contrast Ned's death with Tywin's in that they are both kind of representative of two opposite worldviews, like honor and mercy versus like cold calculating pragmatism, and how Ned's death sets up in the show that it's all about cold calculating pragmatism, but it's not true. Tywin is a cold calculating pragmatist. And
he dies on the toilet.
What kills him. He dies on the toilet because he didn't show any mercy to his son. He didn't show any love to his son. Yeah. And ultimately, that was his blind spot, even though he was this brilliant pragmatist.
We're going to go a little bit further than didn't show mercy and didn't show actively antagonized, belittled, and emotionally destroyed his son.
No one started the Civil War.
Real quick, I did want to correct myself because some people in the chat were mentioning it. They are correct. In the books, it wasn't specified how many arrows hit Boromir. It was many. Many.
See, I was right.
I think I was thinking of the giant arrows from like a book I had as a kid where it was like describing the weapons of the Uruk-hai. I thought I had it. I still had it. I was looking for it.
I mean, in the movie, the arrows are huge.
They are fucking huge. And I think I remember reading a description where like they are meant to kill in a single shot, but that's probably not from the actual books. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. Go ahead and get your votes in on the poll, and we'll get Chad and Liam's votes in just a minute as well. But I did also want to say, speaking of some Lord of the Rings goodness in these movies, if you haven't joined the Death Battle Discord, you should. Because this week, starting tomorrow, I believe, the Death Battle Discord is going to be having a big event called Tolkien Week. It's basically a watch party. The next 3 days, they're going to be doing a watch party of each Lord of the Rings movie, the extended edition version, and, talk about it, and a bunch of people who haven't seen it before are going to be seeing it. It's going to be great. So go ahead and join in at the Death Battle Discord. You can do that. I believe there's a link on the YouTube channel. And join in on the watch party starting this Wednesday. It'll be exciting. Okay, so Liam.
Yes.
Boromir or Ned?
Boromir.
Chad.
Oh. I'm sticking. Both of these characters have so little to them to research.
I know.
I don't know.
We've literally covered everything about them.
So Josh did me a solid. I'm going to do Josh a solid. I'm going to go with Ned Stark.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap up the chat poll then. We don't have a community page poll because we just did this off the fly. Chat poll, you guys are the deciding vote. Let's go ahead and see which one wins.
Oh,
wow, that's actually pretty close.
So close.
Wow.
55 to
Close.
45%.
I'll take it.
Boromir takes it. So, Lord of the Rings wins both battles.
Leave this up. I'm so sorry, real quick. Can we go back? This sums up the whole reason. It popped into me. Oh, are these two played by the same actor? Kage. Yes. And there it is. There's the
That's
reason,
fantastic.
the reason
During
and the
this
result in one image. It's too perfect.
That's fantastic.
All right,
eye.
well, thank you guys for humoring our bean battle. Again,
Doing the bad thing.
Black Adam versus Apocalypse airs this upcoming Sunday and Monday. Be sure to check it out.
Josh.
Thank you guys for. I don't know what the hell you're
Chat,
I don't even
do you
know.
want- do you want to
Please
do
mute
the bad
Liam.
thing?
All right, it's time to wrap the show up. Thank you for watching. Be kind to others. Be kind to yourself. Be awesome. We'll see you next week.
Bye.